Hello, everybody. This is Christine. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome. I have a very special guest today. I'm excited about talking with him. He's going to be talking about his experiences and what those experiences happened for him and how that inspired him into moving forward and helping other pet parents. And we'll let him tell the story. But I just wanted to let you know that I am here every Wednesday at 5:45. I generally bring on a professional guest that is in the pet industry, and they talk about specific topics. We have different conversations. With that being said, again, my name is Christine. I am your host tonight from A Naturally Balanced Dog, and tonight I am with Billy. Hi, Billy. How are you?
Hello, hello, hello.
And Billy is from the Baunji Strong Foundation. So if you could, Billy, just share with us, how the foundation started, what inspired you to move forward, and where you head into at this point in time with that.
Yeah, wow, what an amazing journey. Well, first, again, Christine, thank you for having me on. Thank you for all the great work you do, pounding the pavement and keeping our dogs strong and healthy. It's much needed, and boy, we are all doing some amazing work. So thank you for having me on here. So I was thinking of a couple things. Pet parents, I want to encourage you. I was thinking of a lot of things, how we wanted to start, but I think the message is, it's a message from tragedy to triumph. Um, you know, for me, I've always had a love for dogs. I had no idea what God was going to do with this amazing dog, Baunji, that came into my life. Baunji was a rescue from Animal Care and Control in Brooklyn. They have one of the highest euthanasia rates of pit bulls. Very heartbreaking. Long story short, Baunji popped up on my newsfeed, and again, I wasn't following, this particular shelter up in New York. But previously, when I was an animal control officer, I understood a lot of evaluations and how they all go. And Baunji was a pit bull mastiff with a green evaluation, which means anybody could handle this dog with no issue. And he was set for euthanasia, and that really bothered me. And basically through leaving out a lot of detail, but Baunji was set to be euthanized. He was one of 6 dogs. And every time I tell this story, I always get a lump in my throat. So I somewhat apologize, but I don't apologize because God used this amazing dog to give me such passion going forward. So he was one of 6 to be euthanized, and I was going back and forth with the shelter. They wouldn't let me, foster him because my one dog at that time wasn't neutered. That's a whole another topic. And so I thought, wow, they're going to kill an adoptable dog, and I'm willing to step up to the plate. Well, long story short, as fate would have it, that evening, he was one of 6 dogs, and when I clicked on the site, all 6 dogs were off the list, which meant all 6 dogs were euthanized, which meant Baunji was euthanized. And I remember meeting friends out for dinner, and I showed up at the restaurant sobbing. I said, I can't believe they killed Baunji, and I was just devastated. But as fate would have it, and God knew there was going to be quite a story told from this amazing dog's journey. One of the volunteers reached out to me on Messenger and said, are you still interested in Baunji? He's alive. And I thought, this is either a bad joke or this is something amazing. And so we'll go with the latter. So I said yes. I said, I'm running a 5K that afternoon. As soon as I'm done, I will get up to Brooklyn and come get him. And I got halfway through the race again, not like it's a long race. It was a 5K, so I got in about maybe 1.5 miles in, and I said, "The hell with this! I got to go get Baunji." So I ran
He
back home,
waited long
cleaned up.
enough.
Yeah, ran home, jumped in the shower, and flew up to Brooklyn. I drove up there with a flood of emotions and opened up the door, and next thing you know, lady looks at me, my eyes are filled with tears, and I said, "I thought you guys killed him." And it was just so much going on, and she said, "Let's see if you guys are going to be compatible." And sure enough, as I ran down the hallway, I turned the corner, and this is actually Baunji on our shirt. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, he's a handsome guy.
He was a beautiful boy. He jumped up, and again, he was a pit bull mastiff, so he was big. He put his big paws on my shoulders, and my eyes filled with tears. And that was in 2014. And just a short time later, again, he started to limp. We thought maybe because he had jumped, a 6-foot fence, and again, he was about 110 pounds. Thought maybe he might have jarred something. My vet didn't want to get an X-ray, so I went to the town where we used to do animal control. I had asked them if they could do an X-ray, and when the doctor came out, he said, "Billy, I am so sorry." And I just looked at him and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, as soon as he put the X-ray up, I knew where the area was, and I immediately saw right where this almost microscopic tumor was. He said, "Billy, that looks to be the beginning of osteosarcoma." I said, "What is that?" I know cancer because cancer took both my parents. And they said it's a very aggressive bone cancer. And I just remember sobbing in the office, and it was like the teacher from Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. I don't understand anything he's telling me. I just, but I knew I didn't want to lose Baunji. And so I heard what the doctor had to say. And the first thing they mentioned was, they said, "Listen, if you wanted to go ahead and euthanize Baunji, we wouldn't judge you, because this is one of those cancers dogs don't come back from." And I thought, we almost lost him, the first time. And I said, no, we're not doing that. And like many, right, I went to social media, and I said, "I think my dog has bone cancer. What do we do?" And a friend reached out to me and said, "You got to switch your dog over to the raw." And Christine, when they said that to me, again, I was a personal trainer for 15 years, so I understood nutrition, and I said, "Of course, they're carnivores. What am I?" And so that began to kind of, we began to brainstorm, and I met some amazing people along the way. Maybe they're on here, but Joe and Krista Powell, dear friends, I love them to pieces. I reached out to the Keto Pet Sanctuary. They were doing some amazing work. They were treating dogs.
Yeah, Keto Pet was in Texas,
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
And so
and they were doing some amazing work. And again, to give you an idea, they had a PET scan machine. There's only 8 of them in the country.
Yeah.
So this goes to show you the caliber of care that these dogs were getting. They were very instrumental. Another dear friend, Thomas Sandberg from Long Living Pets, he reached out to me. Rob Kugler, Bella, from Team Bella, he was very instrumental. My dear friends Adina with their pit bull Russ out in California, they were on the nutritional side. So I had, just some of these amazing people behind the scenes. Terry Swanson, she used to do the hyperbaric things at Keto Pet Sanctuary. So, all these people, God brought these amazing people, in the backfield, alongside of me. And, we started to, look at how are we going to help Baunji here. And so, at the end of the day, he was not going down easy. And I knew what God put in my heart, and God spoke to my heart and said, "Billy, this was when we were just kind of in the journey of it, Billy, the tragedy that you're going to feel when you have to euthanize Baunji, wait till you see the triumph." And I didn't understand that, but I knew, for me, God has always showed up in amazing ways in my journey and the work that I've done with dogs and in my own life for over 20 years. And so, it's like we go up to UPenn, one of the top vet schools in the country. And, at this point, Baunji was raw fed. I was, listen.
So is there like a particular, I'm just going to interject, like
Yeah.
when you talk about, raw fed and maybe people understand what that is, but maybe they don't. And so raw fed being fresh food, was there something in particular, like, how you constructed your diet, not necessarily going into specifics, but, there's just
Yeah.
so many different dynamics. What?
Yeah. I mean, so, my thought was, it's like, was it perfect? No. But was he getting better, nutrition
Nutrients, yeah.
than, being, kibble fed? Hands down. I mean, I made him 110 mistakes in the beginning of Baunji's. But his quality of life, again, when they did his amputation surgery, I would talk to families and they'd say, man, it took our dog a long time to come around. I was getting immunity building supplements, in Baunji. We were attacking the nutritional side. The great friends at Keto Pet, we were honing in on his diet, and 3 days after that surgery, he ran up 2 flights of stairs. Um, People would say, well, that was, the bond that you guys had. Maybe that was true, but I think the message God was making it so clear was that, wait till you see how I'm going to use you to impact families around the world. And again, when you're in the thick of the fight, you're not getting,
Right.
you might not be getting
It's
the
in
whole
pieces.
message, but you just know, just hold on for dear life because the breakthrough's coming. And so, they gave Baunji about 4 months to live, and we went 22 months. And again, some of the highlights were, families would reach out and they'd say, Billy, we put our dog, through chemo, and we thought they were going to die in the process. After Baunji's third chemo treatment, we ran over to the Philadelphia Museum where they filmed Rocky, and he and I looked at each other, and I said, come on, buddy, let's do it. And we ran to the top of those stairs, and, I was a sobbing mess, but, it was like God was making it clear, like, Billy, you keep fighting. Wait till you see. And, Baunji was we always talk about that 1 in a million dog, right? I lost a total of 3 dogs in my life. Baunji, and then I lost 2 other dogs. I can honestly say in my heart, in those 3 journeys, God gave me 1 in a million dog 3 times over. And each of those journeys, I've learned so much. So it was like with Baunji, God used Baunji to give his dad a mission, a passion. When I looked at everything that we were doing in Baunji's journey, the majority of the conventional world shot it down. At the end of Baunji's journey, so Baunji was in remission for 21 of those months. And we had everything done at UPenn, On the 21st month, he became a therapy dog. And so I wanted to take him to children's hospitals to meet with children with cancer, because osteosarcoma affects children.
Sure.
And I wanted to bring Baunji to meet with kids, because he loved everybody. To meet with kids that your deformity does not define who you are. And so, ironically, Baunji got his rabies vaccine on his T6 vertebrae. And in less than a month, he became paralyzed, and a cancerous tumor formed, and basically destroyed his T6 vertebrae. And we went down to Florida. There was a great doctor down there, doing great work. He had lost his wife to cancer, so if anybody understood my desperation, it was him. And we were trying to figure out a protocol for Baunji, and in one sense, God was calling Baunji home. And I just remember just a devastation. Baunji ate his last ketogenic meal, and I thank God for this amazing dog. And we did the euthanasia process. We were outside under a tree. It was beautiful out, and I sobbed my eyes out, of course. And at the end, I asked the doctor if I could just carry Baunji, back into the hospital, because they were going to have to do a necropsy, so we can get all the information back to UPenn. And I just remember carrying Baunji and just holding him to my heart. Tears are streaming down my face. And I just said, God, I'm hurting pretty bad, but I know you are going to bring tremendous triumph out of this. And I just remember, just feeling a total devastating loss. And I remember telling my dear friend down there, I said, I'm going to start a nonprofit, and we're going to help pet parents. I never want pet parents to feel ostracized, that financially they're struggling. I almost went homeless. I struggled every day to get everything I needed for Baunji. And I never want a family to ever feel that they're a bad pet parent for not having finances. And then I said, I'm going to open up a wellness center for dogs with cancer. And I said that in 2017. And so to kind of fast forward, we looked at Baunji's final necropsy report. And that's how I knew we kind of rattled the oncology department. They said, you can't feed your dog raw. They'll transmit bacterial infections and all this stuff. And there's some studies that have come out that absolutely eradicated those myths, busted them, that in fact cannot happen. So a couple of things from Baunji's journey coming away. It's like, all right, he had a high grade 3, very aggressive tumor on his spine. When they kind of sliced it open, they found very minimal inflammation. Why? Because he was on more of a higher fat diet, a more minimally carbohydrate, more minimally protein diet. So to give you, from the personal training side of me, understanding metabolism and stuff, it's like kibble broken down turns into glucose that will feed cancer. As the metabolism is trying to figure out an energy source, it could even take protein and turn it into glucose, which is another form of sugar that could also feed cancer. But the body is not able to take fat and use it as glucose. It can use it as a energy source, but it cannot be broken into glucose. And so they found very minimal.
I'm so sorry, but the important piece to understanding that I think that maybe people might be missing is it's the glucose that feeds cancer, which is why you change the diet from a process, from a protein to a fat diet.
Right. So again, not all inflammation is bad, right? Inflammation actually kickstarts healing in the body. So, when people say, oh, we got to get rid of all, no, you'll never get rid of all inflammation, but you can reduce it pretty significantly. And so, there was a lot about Baunji's journey that really checked out and really rang true with some of the connection at the Keto Pet Sanctuary. They were like, this guy did it outside of the realm of what we were doing here. And so love them to death. I made some great connections. And so, it's like Baunji's up in heaven. He's having the time of his life. And we, basically, I had to take that message, not just of hope, but to show the masses how vital nutrition plays in the role of overcoming disease. And so I went out to California. I went out to 2 rescues out there. They didn't know who I was other than who's this guy showing up in an RV, walking dogs and scooping poop all day. Um, and what I was doing was looking at what was going on with these dogs, looking at what's going on with these dogs, and realizing that, huh, the missing key of overcoming disease is nutrition. And so at the end of all disease, you're either feeding disease or you're starving disease. You're either increasing in health and wellness or you're decreasing in health and wellness. At the end of the day, what's going into that body? And so our dear friends out at Vibrant Canine, I went out there and I was so thankful to meet with them. And I started working with some of these dogs at the rescue. I started getting food from them. Again, I just started just adding just certain supplements to just boost the immune system, and next thing you know, everybody's like, wait a minute, I don't agree with what you're doing, but here's what I do know. That dog was not thriving. That dog is on the move. And so now I started saying, you know what, God, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely bringing triumph out of tragedy. And so that's really kind of been the message of what we've been doing. And you know
And so
we
let me
rescued
just
another.
interject. So
Yeah,
we're going to just jump ahead. So kind
yeah,
of where I kind of came on board with, following you per se, because I'm surf, Facebook and social media and stuff like that. And I pop into different groups and things like that. And so one of the things that I noticed that you were doing is kind of what cued into me, that you were doing something that was very inspirational, obviously, for the love of your dog. You gained a lot of knowledge going through this process with him. And again, so where I kind of started following was the fact that you were looking for a place to create this center.
yes,
And so your focus is to be able to do what? You're going to have the center. And so
yeah.
where
So
is that bringing you to?
yeah, so again, God really moved heaven and earth to open up to get a piece of property down in South Carolina. So we're going to be in Gaffney, South Carolina. It's a beautiful piece of property. Again, there's a lot of work that has to be done, but it's on 15 acres of land. And basically now what we're going to do is we're moving into the rescue community. So even though on one hand we are a 501c3, but now we are going to be changing from what we've been doing and now moving just into the dog rescue community. And all I'm going to be doing is working with dogs with cancer. And so, we're going to be looking to kind of build some relationships down in South Carolina. So, again, hopefully we can connect with some integrative, holistic veterinarians down there, share what it is we're doing. We've already gotten like the green light from the town. We connected with the Humane Society in Cherokee County. They are elated. They're excited beyond belief because they did have a dog that came in with cancer, and unfortunately, no rescues came forward, and they had to euthanize the dog. And listen, they're not equipped to take this on,
Right.
and so
Sure.
there's rescues out there doing amazing things. God bless them, man. They're doing awesome. I'm working with dogs with cancer. Like I've always told people, cancer will regret the day it ever came after my boys.
Yeah. And so when you open this facility, and you're
Right.
going to be helping, are like people who are around the country that are experiencing cancer? Is it a resource, or are you just specifically working with the dogs that you're getting in from the shelters? Or
Yeah.
because I
So
just foresee this as really a an opportunity for anybody whose dog has had cancer or is experiencing that, or
yeah, you know, again, I'm very optimistic. That's just how God wired me, even in the midst of tragedy. There's many things. One thing I love about when we really get up and running is this is going to be open to pet parents. One of the things that we're looking to do is down the road, I want to set it up to where we can have some plugins for RVs, and families could come visit us, and they
Oh,
can
that's
learn.
nice. Yeah.
They can learn. They can watch us working with dogs with cancer. They can watch some of the protocols, and then they can take that information and go back. And so the goal, right, in what we're doing with Baunji Strong is that we're going to pull dogs. They're diagnosed with cancer. We're going to attack this nutritionally. Thank God I got two great raw feeding companies that are going to be supplying our food. So that's awesome. And so now we'll work with these dogs. We'll get the definitive diagnosis, right? We'll get them their medical protocols. And now we're just going to now attack metabolically with the protocols. Hopefully we'll make those solid connections with a integrative or holistic veterinarian or integrative oncologist. The end result is we get those dogs into remission and we get them into adopted loving families. But the awesome part, those families now, they saw what we were doing. More than likely, they'll be volunteers, right? And so now that they're fostering these dogs and they're watching these dogs living the life, it's a total win-win.
Yeah, totally. And so what are the things that you need now? You're not open yet. You're just, you're getting the building started. You're going to have a lot of revamping the property, the housing and stuff like that. And so for those people who might be interested, what is the best way for them to help you out? I mean, what are the kind of
Yeah.
things that you might need?
Yeah, I mean, so right now we're working out kind of like the logistics of everything, and it has to, right now it's like in the brink of attorney review and such. And so once we get the green light, it's like all hands on deck. We're going to need all the help we can get, whether it's volunteers, again, there's a knockdown house that's on the property that has to be gutted. We have to, construct a metal barndominium that will be, housing the dogs. So we have to do a lot of fundraising. But, listen, at the end of the day, prayer moves the hand of God. So that's awesome. So if you can't do anything, anybody can pray. If you're able to donate going forward, again, you can go to our website. There's a PayPal link that's there. We also have Zelly, is that it, or Zelle?
Zell.
Okay.
Zell.
So we have that. And then, like I said, we're going to need volunteers. When I tell you the amount of work that has to be done, but I'm not overwhelmed.
Where can people follow your progress? Because right now, other than maybe financial assistance and trying to grow your bank so that you can do these things, obviously prayer, as you said,
Right.
is something that people can do. But what is it? Where can they follow your progress so that they know
Yeah, so
that
you can
you're
go on Instagram. So it's Baunji_strong_foundation. On Facebook, it's just Baunji Strong. And then you can connect with me also on my personal page. And again, families, I want you to know that I understand the heartache. So if you have lost a pet, my heart absolutely goes out to you. I am sending you the biggest hug possible, and I absolutely mean that. I know that devastating feeling, but I also know the other side of it. What we
can't hear you. A little technical difficulty there. Nope. But you play, that's okay. And so basically, I think that where Billy's kind of going is certainly that people who have experienced the grief um, that certainly he can identify. I think any pet parent who has ever had a dog that has struggled with health issues and or had to let go of their pet can certainly be very devastating. But the one thing that I think is great is the fact that it takes a lot of heart that an individual has been so inspired to do such a great thing over the loss of his pet and the experience and share it with others. And I think that a perfect thing. So again, you can follow Billy on the Baunji Strong Foundation from Facebook. As you mentioned, Instagram. You can do PayPal if you want to donate off of his website. And so I think that is just great what you're doing. And it's very exciting. Certainly I'll be following and hopefully be able to help you any way I can. And so with that being said, as we're wrapping up, I just want to mention next week on Wednesday, I am going to have Cheryl Cryer from Crybaby CBD Oil, who will be joining me. I think it's going to be a great episode. She is going to share with us some recipes that you can make for your dog utilizing some CBD oil. So I think a lot of times when we think of that, we think of CBD oil is just for dogs that have anxiety or having different health issues. But the one thing that we don't talk about is just CBD oil as a nutritional supplement. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her. We'll be seeing you next week, and thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.